All right, BA fam. I am so excited. BA QA. I stole Chris and Yanely, and they're sticking around to take y'all's questions. Welcome to the Brown and Bush and QA. Yanely, you haven't done a QA with us, have you?
No, I have. Oh, I did one with
Mm.
Tiff, I think, on the episode where me and Tiff were when you were had just popped.
Oh, I just oh my baby. Okay, I was like,
Yeah.
what? Like when I
Yeah,
get out
just
of
pop
bed
the
in the
whole
morning and
baby out.
everything pops like that.
Not snap crackle pop, like you popped out a baby.
Oh man. Well, BAQA, y'all have questions. We have answers with a lowercase a. I like to say get your salt shakers out because you're not going to sue us. This is infotainment. It is information from people who are pretty smart and know some stuff, but for entertainment purposes. Okay. We're not your financial advisor or your financial planner. So sue someone else. Just not us. Don't come for us. All right. And please submit your questions. You can hit us up on IG. You can send us a DM. A voice message is fine on IG or just a regular old text message. You can also email us, brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com. All right. We got some good questions today. So the first question is from someone who's anonymous. And wants to know, I have been following your podcast for over a year and we have a question for you. Can you recommend a good auto refinance company? For me, I hate Capital One. It's not an option. Thank you. Auto refinance. So this is like you have an auto loan and you're not happy with the rate or like the monthly payments and you want to refi.
Yep.
Have you guys done that before?
I have refinanced, like I've not refinanced a car loan, but I have just like done like credit card consolidation before. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it's hard to say there's one really good company because what you should really be doing is shopping around so that you can get the best rate, especially right now. Rates
so
are starting to
smart.
change.
Beautiful,
Rates are starting
smart.
to
All of it.
drop. So, somebody might have just dropped their rate a little lower than somebody else. And it's kind of on you to do that due diligence to find the best option out there for you. Rather than just saying, oh, well, I heard Capital One is good or not good. Well, kind of, shop around and compare lenders until you find one that's going to give you the best deal.
Yeah.
I've heard of a company. I heard about them a little while back. They're called Auto Approve. They're supposed to be a company that'll help you go out and find a good refinance deal for your auto loan and help you with the process.
Oh, like a marketplace?
Yeah, and they'll kind of like walk you through the process and get you through there. I haven't checked them out in a little while, so I don't know what's going on right now with them, but that's one. But kind of like Yanely was saying, like also checking out your local areas, your credit unions are a great place.
Credit unions.
But then if you I'll be curious of where they're at in their auto loan. Like, are they like a couple years in? Did they just start? Because I mean, the way they set up these auto loans, you're paying kind of like a mortgage. You're paying most of the interest up front in the beginning, and it kind of tapers off as you go. So if you're like in that midway point, you're probably already paid a ton of interest at this point. So sometimes refinancing kind of just resets that clock and might cost, even you get a lower rate, you might end up paying more interest over the life of the loan. So you might want to just take time to kind of think about it, play with a couple of little auto loan calculators, kind of just see where you're at.
Yeah.
Do the
Shout out
math
to
on
my
it, for
former
sure.
employer, Lending Tree, because I ran the content team there for like 5 years. And Lending Tree is a marketplace too. So if you want to shop and compare, that's their whole platform is you can compare rates among different lenders. Now they will be calling your ass when you submit for that free quote. So use a number that you don't answer all the time. I don't know. But to get the
Voice,
quotes,
set up a Google Voice number. That's what I do.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
But using one of those sites is great, and they take some of the legwork out for you. But yeah, that's a really good point, Chris. Like pros and cons of auto refi is it's a good point. It's also one of those things where sometimes if your payment is just too high and you're like you're having cash flow issues, you will make a bad decision for the good of your finances sometimes. And I mean the bad decision being, let me refinance, even though it's going to be more expensive over time, but it's going to give me relief maybe in the form of like a lower payment today. That may be the
as
case.
long as you know that, because the worst case scenario is that you make the decision under the guise or like thinking that you are saving yourself money or making a financially responsible choice. And then when you run the math later, you go, damn, I really got screwed because now I'm paying more in the long run. But if you are aware that you're doing that and you're kind of in a situation where you're like, well, this one time I kind of have to do it. It's going to be 2 or 3 years like this. And then I'm going to get back on track. Fine. But I do think a lot of people end up making these choices without the full clear picture. And that's kind of the heartbreaking part. But Mandi, you're absolutely right. There's going to be times where sometimes you just gotta do what you have to do for the short term and not necessarily focus just on the long term all the time.
Yeah, car payments are so expensive now.
Girl,
Yeah,
the average car payment is $1,000 a
get
month.
that out of here.
Mind-boggling.
$1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Late 2024, the average car payment was $1,000 a month. How the hell are
Auto
people
loan debt,
affording these
man.
cars?
That's what I'm trying to
Girl,
figure out. I wish I
I don't
would
know.
give someone $1,000 a month for a car.
I don't
You
know
have a
how
car,
y'all.
Chris. Is it paid off? What you got? You have a
Paid
loan?
off. My car is 11 years old. I paid that thing off like
Oh, so
4 years ago,
jealous.
4 or 5. I don't even know how long.
Your
I paid off
car
a
is
long time ago.
the car's
I
about to hit puberty.
Yanely, do you have a car?
I've never driven. I don't have a driver's license, honey.
Oh,
What?
you a real New
I'm from
Yorker.
Brooklyn.
True New Yorker.
Brooklyn. I got a bunch of Metro cards in my wallet still, even though I live in Miami. So that's how New York I am. But no, I've never owned a
What
car.
about your
because I used to
partner?
live with
How
him.
do you guys get around?
He's a Jersey boy. He definitely has his license since he was
See,
like
okay, then.
15. So we're good.
Partner
but no.
privilege.
We,
You get to
I'm
be
a
a passenger princess.
I'm a professional passenger princess. Is
Couldn't
what I
even
am.
couldn't even get behind the wheel if you wanted to.
For real. Not
Man.
safely. No.
Feel bad for him if he ever needs you to take him somewhere.
I know.
To PR.
She's like, I'll call you
I'm
an
just
Uber.
waiting for
I
Uber,
think I
babe.
could do
I'm just
the
waiting for Uber.
no,
Like, we're
I
gonna
could do
staunch
the
bleeding.
basics. I could do the basics, but like if I'm on the highway, I might
hold
have
on.
a
What do you mean
panic
you could do
attack.
the basics? What,
Like
what
I
does
can
that
drive
mean?
on the like I could drive on the street. Like I could drive on the street with pedestrian traffic and stuff. But if I'm on the highway, the freeway, like my heart is gonna come out of my chest because I'm so scared because cars are
The
going too
freeway is
fast.
the easiest thing for me.
No,
Yeah.
it's too fast. It's too
Just
fast,
straight.
girl, for me.
Get a car that drives for you. You know.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna just wait until the cars are all self-driving. And then be like, oh look, I don't even need to get the license thing because I'm gonna just.
See, I don't even understand it. I'm born and raised in Southern
I hate having
California.
the car payment, and I told y'all I opened up about having 2 cars now, and I just like, man, that's my goal is to get that ish paid off. First
Yeah.
credit card debt. Ugh.
It's a lot.
Then
And
It
look,
is.
that's
consumer
one
debt.
thing I will say. I've talked to my little
Everything
brother and my niece about this. And I told them, I said, honestly, the one thing that I did early, like that helped me was I never had a car. Like I took the subway when I worked in New York City. I took the subway to work every day. I packed my lunch. I was like super saver. And then when I moved to Miami, I've kind of like live in a building that's in an area where like everything is right here. Like my supermarket is right downstairs. The dentist is up the block. Like there's everything. The airport is 15 minutes away. So my Uber and Lyft rides every month are probably like $250, no more. Like in a month where I spent a lot, it'll be like 300. But I don't pay insurance. I don't have a car payment. I don't pay for gas. I don't pay parking. I don't pay tolls. I don't pay. So it kind of is like just 250 on spending when I need to travel and take an Uber here or there is fine for me. But yeah, I mean, I
That's what
recognize
a Metro North Pass costs out here in Westchester. So yeah,
right.
transit
Yeah.
costs.
And even with a paid off car, I'm paying that much in gas and insurance and registration every month. So it's like you're in the same position just by not having a car.
Right.
Auto debt is just not cute. All right, Anonymous. Well, thank you for your question. That was from IG. We're going to take a little break and come right back with our second question. All right, BA fam, we are back. I'm joined by Yanely Espinal and Chris Browning. Welcome to the BA Roundtable QA for the week. So I have something that I love, which is when a listener who we answered their question before kind of like follows up with us to let them know what's happening now. So just a quick follow-up from listener Kathy, who says she reached out to us. I'm trying to remember. She reached out to us last year. And the episode is called No Job is Worth a Health Decline. At the time, she had a job at one of the top universities in the country. She was saying she commuted up to 3 hours to get to work. So that means 5 to 6 hours total round trip. 3 days a week. She works from home 2 days a week. And then she's asked her current job for a moving bonus or for more support and staffing, but they've declined at the time. And so she was asking us, she said she might have a full-time job lined up that's 10 minutes from where she lives, but she'd be taking a 25% pay cut and a lower title. So she wanted to know, what did we think? Well, we had encouraged her to choose what's best for her life and for her health. And that long ass commute, like the mind, like the exhaustion of that. I mean, I think at the time we had been pretty much like, girl, like for your health and your sanity, 25% is, plus like we just mentioned about cars, the gas, tolls,
travel costs,
traffic, yes, maintenance, all that. So Kathy wanted to follow up. She said, I put in the work to find a position that has allowed me to have a better work-life balance. I recently accepted a position 30 minutes away from my home. I'm
Okay.
getting the same pay as my previous job, more work from home pays, and more professional development. Shout out to Mandi for the negotiation tips. Thank you again. Keep being great. Oh, congrats, Kathy.
Yes.
That's
I'm so
amazing.
happy for Kathy because that is
Yeah.
huge. Shaving like 30 minutes there and back, that's an hour a day. That's
Mm,
so much better than 5 to 6
yeah.
I
hours.
can't even imagine
Ooh,
that type of commute.
my
Mm.
goodness. I mean, I think it
Jamila
only
just through front from
I was
Journey
about
to
to
Launch.
say, yeah, I was about to say it works for people who have like a goal that they need that time, they can use that time for. Like Jamila used to listen to podcasts a lot.
Yeah.
And then because she was so in tune with podcasting, because as being a listener, she was able to create such a high quality podcast that like yeah, everybody knows Journey to Launch is like super, it's such a great, well-known podcast. Why? Because she had listened for hours and hours and hours during her commutes
Mm,
and kind of knew how to make a good podcast that she would want to listen to as a loyal podcast listener. So I do think if you can use that time as in transitioning to something that it will benefit you somehow, it can work out. But in the long run, yeah, man, that thing is gonna just drive you to the ground, drive your health down to the ground, your mental health, and just robs you so much time. Like when you're home, is late and you're just like, how did the whole day escape me? Because all I did
Mm.
today was just go to work and you don't have time for yourself. So I do think at some point having a transition plan is so important. But man, congrats to Kathy because 30 minutes from 6 hours, from 5 hours is
yeah.
huge.
I'm so happy for you, Kathy. And thank you for following up. Y'all, if we've answered your questions and you want to follow up, please do. Please do. Okay, our final question for today is from listener Shakira, who sent us Shakira sent us a DM on IG. She's got some credit card debt. She has about $7,000 of credit card debt. She says, my credit is excellent and I make decent money. I feel like I'm going a little bit backwards because I do have some investments in stocks that are worth about the same amount I have in debt. This is
Mm,
not my 401k, but my side personal investment. So she's got about 7K in credit card debt and 7K in her personal investments.
yep.
So Shakira wants to know, would it make sense to cash out the stocks that I have to pay off my debt and then just start investing again after the debt is paid off? Thanks in
Mm.
advance. Ooh, this is a good question. I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say.
I'm gonna
Ooh.
let Chris take it first. I have
Oh, I
thoughts,
get.
but Chris, you go first.
Okay.
Oh, I get the first crack at
When
it.
do you not
Okay.
have thoughts,
Yeah,
Yanely?
I know I got a lot to say, but Chris, go
All
first.
right, I'll be quick. I'm gonna give you more of the time here. For me, I mean that's a good question because you think about it. Like I don't know what the interest rates are on your credit card, but I'm assuming they're not great
20
interest rates.
something.
Right, they're
Yeah,
gonna
they're
be
probably
high.
above
Even
twenty
with great
percent.
credit, 20 something.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's still crossing 20. Now, the likelihood of you getting that same type of return on your investments, I mean, it might happen, but it's not guaranteed. The average is gonna
Right.
be much lower than that. I mean, so just mathematically, I can see the relief going from doing that. But also, is this something that you realistically could tackle in a few months? Do you feel like if you had 3, 4, 5 months, you could just pay this off through your regular payments? If that's the case, I wouldn't rush to cash out that investment because you may not be able to put that back. Maybe you're not gonna be as disciplined to put that money right back in again. So you're costing yourself and you may just like eliminate that investment option that you're doing altogether. And there could be some tax implications too. I don't know what type of account this is in. If it's in a brokerage account, you may have had some gains. You might end up owing taxes, which is going to eat into whatever you would have pulled out anyway. So I would say if you feel confident that you could tackle this on your own in, 3 to 5 months through regular payments, I would go that route. But if you're like, no, it would take me a couple of years to pay this off monthly, I would consider it because you'd be paying so much more in interest than you probably would be making by just letting it sit there.
100%.
Yeah.
I love that answer, Chris. I was about to say the tax part for sure.
Mm,
Like, that is the number one piece of investing that most people do not consider because of the way that it's structured and set up, right? Like,
mm,
if you were to sell your investments today, January, whatever day it is, let's say January 2025, you sell your investments, you don't see any taxes. You don't see any tax hit. You take out whatever you take out, and that number is what you get to send to the credit card companies, and you
mm,
think the problem is solved and you're done. But
mm,
come tax season 2026, you're
Mm,
going to owe those capital gains taxes, whether they're short term capital gains taxes, which means it's the same income tax brackets for the 2025 year for your income, or long term capital gains, which can be 0%, 15, or 20%. So you have to figure out where it's going to be based on your income again, and which means at the end of the day, you still have to do the math and kind of decide for yourself, like, is it better for me to delay this and do just the tax bill that I'm going to owe in the spring of 2026 by selling my investments now and getting rid of the credit card. That gives me a few months to come up with that money that I'm going to owe when I file my taxes. Or would I rather not deal with that and just pay the interest for a couple months until I pay off that 7K? It's all a numbers game, right? So if the numbers don't make sense to kind of do it monthly and the 7K is a lot for you, to Chris's point, it might make sense. But in a lot of cases, like, people just discount, they just do not consider those taxes, and it comes around and it shocks people and it surprises people, and it's like, wait, hold up, what? Because by the time it comes around, you don't forgot about it because you sold those stocks so long ago. So
Trying to
I
Google
really
what's
do
the
think,
cost basis.
right, what is cost basis and what's long-term capital gains versus short-term capital gains? I didn't even know there's a difference in those brackets. So I do think if you run the math and it makes sense, long versus short-term, make the choice that makes sense mathematically. But to Chris's point, there's a little bit of a psychology piece to this too. Like, if your life is going to feel exponentially better and you have a weight completely lifted off of you, knowing that the credit card debt is not there and that you're not paying 29.999% interest, then you might want to do it. And just now you have time to start preparing a separate high yield savings account where you put a little bit of money every month, so that when tax season comes around, you have the taxes that you will owe, because you're buying yourself time, right, with that money. So I do think that's kind of the factors that matter the most in the decision making process.
I love both of those perspectives. The other thing I will add, speaking from experience, is the cash flow problem typically is why people end up in debt. So you don't have enough coming in, so you're putting things on credit cards that you don't have the cash up front to pay for. And sometimes that's fine. Like, I mean, sometimes you haven't been paid that month yet. You want to get something, you have money coming in, but it can start to creep up on you, right? So I would just caution you, Shakira, is to really get dedicated to a budget, so that when you pay off this credit card debt, whether you're doing it with, selling your stocks to pay it down or paying it off over time, try to get to the heart of, how did that $7,000 accrue? It's not the most I've ever heard of in credit card debt. Certainly I have way more than that myself.
Right.
But I do worry about, if you can pay it off with the stocks right now, but then it kind of like starts to creep back up because some of like the core underlying issue, which is probably the budget, hasn't been resolved. And that can be hard to confront. That's why, let me speak some good on one of my partners, Rocket Money. Have you guys used Rocket Money?
Yeah, I
The
like
new
them a
personal
lot.
finance app?
Mm-hmm.
I really love it. There's a free version and a little bit more paid premium version for like $6, but I've been loving it personally. I mean, genuinely enjoying it, because it has helped me so much visualize my spending and my cash flow, and it's been like a really good rude awakening to have this app. So
It tells you
I
all the
encourage that.
subscriptions that can sometimes be eating away at your cash
Subscriptions,
flow.
babe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize what a generous donator I am. Donor
Consumer
I
you are.
am.
Yup.
I've been
Yup.
donating $50 a month since 2020 to a food bank here, which is amazing. But like, also that's $600 a month that I could use.
Yeah.
$25 a month to the ACLU. I'm donating like 25 a month to Planned Parenthood. I had to
Nice.
send some emails.
Yeah, that was
I'm
me with Save
just
the Children. I did that with
pressing
Save the
pause.
Children, and I had to 2, 3 years, and I was like, wait a minute here. I think I gave enough. I think I'm at a point where I need
You're
to
like, I
start
saved
thinking
enough
about doing
kids.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were cool about it.
No,
They're like,
but
"You
you got to be
provided
real. You
200 meals to Westchester." I'm like, "Great. I feel good
yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
Now,
you
please
and
cancel
if
my
you're in a
card."
position, look, if you're in a position, that's fine. Like, I'm in a
Mm,
position now where I can give Save the Children $100 a month, and it's not going to make or break my finances. But back when I was trying to pay off my credit card debt, that was not the case. So it really
mm,
is about your situation and where you're at. So just be real with yourself. But Mandy, I 100% agree. The budgeting is usually the root of it.
mhm. Well, good luck, Shakira, and thank you for your question. Now, BA fam, please submit your questions. We are here. You can stay anonymous, but give us a pseudonym if you always want to be called something. Use a little nom de plume. You can email us at brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on IG. We're at Brown Ambition Podcast on the gram. Thank you to my beautiful brown co-hosts, Yanely and Chris, for joining me for the BAQA, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.